My name is Noah Macbeth, aka Nombè. I'm from Heidelberg, Germany originally, but my mom's from Brooklyn, so I kind of claim Brooklyn and Heidelberg. I'm still figuring that out, to be honest. I would say electric soul, psychedelic soul with beats and electronic music. I've been making music my whole life, really. My dad was a drummer, and I started playing piano when I was 6, and then got into boom bop, hip hop, and making beats. So I want to say I've been doing music full time for about 15 years now, something like that. Ah, man, that's a great question. Music to me is life, is a whole nother language that without it, you know, we'd have a hard time expressing ourselves. It's therapy for me, it's my work, it's everything to me. Sunsets and the moon. I feel like everything's inspiration. You can't even help it. Like if you go in the studio and you just had a fight with someone, that's inspiration, you know. Hearing something, hearing a song that maybe reminds you of your childhood, or something that your mom might say to you on the phone. I always say, like, inspiration is everything, whether you want it to be or not. I'm passionate about everything that makes me feel something, you know. Photography, cooking. I like building things. I like doing stuff with my hands, which is probably why I got into beats, because it feels a lot like playing with Legos. I love to learn about history and actually human behavioral science. I watch a lot of podcasts and a lot of panel talks by different professors, and honestly I just roam YouTube for hours on end and just discover things. I like random facts. I like learning about animals and fauna and silly shit. Oh man, it affected me more mentally. Luckily I wasn't hit as bad. You know, I work from home pretty much anyways, where my studio's at. It mostly affected my family and people around me. A lot of my good friends lost jobs, and I lived by myself, so it messed with my mental, you know, being isolated, being alone, being on my phone even more, although I'm trying to be off my phone as much as possible. And just seeing how the world deals with it, it's been very, very confusing, but also inspiring, and a lot of mixed emotions. I think overall, I think there are good things that can come out of this, as much as it's gonna take its toll on our economy, and the world moving forward is gonna be a little different, you know, but hopefully for the better. Oh man, how much time you got? Uh, I've been very, very affected by it. You know, my mom's black. My whole family has endured a lot. My grandmother had burning crosses in her yard. My mom went to prison when I was a teenager. I have a lot of family that suffers from discrimination, including myself. You know, I was harassed by police a few days before George Floyd got killed. They came to my car, pulled a gun out, you know, pulled me out of my car. I was literally getting food, like just getting a burger, and it was very traumatic. And so it all like was like the perfect segue to this whole movement coming together. And on the flip side, I feel very hopeful. Like, it's the first time in my life that I see so many like white people and allies be vocal and not just rest comfortably knowing that they themselves are not racist, right? Like, there's a lot of proactive positivity, and it makes me feel like I'm not alone. It makes me feel like when I talk about these things, I'm being heard. So I want to keep that going. I hope we as a society will keep that going and create a habit with speaking about injustice for everyone, you know. And it doesn't stop with Black lives, you know. I think this is like our kind of Me Too moment right now, and I think even for indigenous people, that's next, you know. Asian Americans, the Hispanic community, there's, you know, people with disabilities. There's so many marginalized groups that are overlooked because frankly we are very comfortable, you know. And unless the struggle like knocks on our door, a lot of times we become apathetic. But man, I've been feeling everything. I've been depressed, I've been crying, I've been joyful, I've been connecting with people, I've been having conversations, protesting, trying to make content that fits into all this. And it takes up all hours of my day right now. And I'm glad it does, in a way. I mean, in the beginning, it was well, it started peaceful actually, and then the first couple, you know, what we saw on TV was a lot of like more violence, police violence, looting, rioting, and I live in the center of Hollywood, right by the police station, so it was pretty crazy. Like my street was blocked off. Friends of mine were getting like, you know, hit with batons and hits, you know, hit in the ribs, and it's been wild. But then it kind of calmed down a little bit, and now the protests are all peaceful, and it's a really, really amazing like human experience to be at the protest. I encourage anyone to go and just see how many people are actually with it, like young and old, black, white, everybody's out there, no matter what gender, how you identify, everybody's out there saying like, you know, we have to start caring about each other now, you know, like that's all we got, you know. We have other problems like climate change and all this stuff that we got to fix ourselves first before we, you know, save the world, you know? And right now we're too caught up in basic discussions like over rights to live, about policing, about housing and all this shit. So it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful and terrible at the same time, you know. But I'm hopeful. I really am. That's a great question. I mean, the music industry is an industry, you know, like all industry. They you know, they have a product, and a lot of times, more often than not, that product is, you know, people of color. And so much of the music industry wouldn't exist without the work of a lot of black artists or mixed artists or whatever. And I think finally we're having more conversations about how there can be a reciprocal kind of exchange and giving back to the communities as opposed to just taking. And I have these talks with my label and everything, and how they can be proactive, because it's 2020, but my label's still all white dudes, you know. So they're not bad people by any means, but there's a lot of work to be done, and I have this experience, so it is also my job to share it and make sure that it's not as hard or harder for the next person coming up. And for me as a musician, like my voice changed a lot, especially on social media, you know, like the types of things I want to talk about, how I use my time. I kind of reached a point for myself where I just don't want to do anything that doesn't promote the right values, you know. I don't want to make music that's la-di-da. I don't want to be featured on random DJs songs that are not about what I'm about. So I've had a internal wake-up call, and I'm very excited about that. Like I feel very much at peace with all of that. You know, like I didn't have to change much within myself because I always liked being vocal about these things, but sometimes the brand wants superficiality, you know, or you think the people want that, but I don't think that's what people want. People want you to speak your mind. They want to hear what's real. They want to have dialogue. We're breaking down these barriers. Like I'm texting fans. I'm doing, you know, the live podcast, IG Live, Zoom. Like I'm always inviting people to be part of the conversation because I'm learning a lot from them too. Like my fans are schooling me on all kinds of stuff, and that's something that we need to share all the time.
David!
I think that's fine.
What are you doing?
Here's tea. He's making tea.
What the fuck? Mom, we got NoMBe. Fuck.
What are you doing? What is she doing?
I never know she's doing that there.
So long story short, let me back up a little bit. So a few weeks ago, there's this video where cops were shooting at these kids in Hollywood, and it was stupid viral. And you basically see a deputy sheriff roll up and just open the window and just start shooting at these kids that were coming from a protest. Now these kids ran away and somehow ended up in front of my crib, and I came outside because I heard something, and there were police barricades everywhere, helicopters, the whole nine. And the kids were just like, yo, like the cops were just shooting at us, we don't know where to go, everything's blocked off. And I was like, well, like at least go around because you're about to walk past the Hollywood police station. So like, we can, and Lyft is suspended, like it's curfew hours, all this stuff. So I was like, all right. And then a cop car actually drove by and through the intercom was like, you're next. So they like literally announced like that they're about to like shoot us again or something. So I was like, all right, everybody go inside. I took them to my yard, and then for the next like 5 hours was just trying to get them rides and called my homies, like, yo, can we get like a carpool together to get these kids home? 5 of them we got home, 3 of them had to spend the night. I run a studio where I live in the same building, and I let one of the kids sleep there for the night. And the next day my landlord gave me a 30 days notice to you know, vacate the premises. And as much as that, like, you know, hurt my feelings and was super unjust, I kind of welcomed it because I was like, you know what, I don't want to be in a place where people, that's how they treat other people for doing something positive, you know what I'm saying? And also, side note, that was all over the news, like NBC, ABC7, KTLA, they all came to the crib to talk to the kids and capture that. So I sent that to my landlord. She didn't really care. And now, so what I'm doing is I'm giving up all my stuff. I'm putting all my music stuff in storage, and I'm doing a road trip to see my mom in North Carolina, but to really capture what is happening in this country right now, for better or for worse. And that shift that I'm seeing, you know, like when I go to protests now, it's like 80% white people, you know, saying Black Lives Matter, and that's never happened in the history of civil rights or America. So I want to document that, and I want to call it, or I am calling it, the evolution will be televised, because this is an evolution that's happening in society, and we're filming everything. You know, we're filming these cops beating people and harassing people. So what Gil Scott-Heron used to say, that the revolution will not be televised, meaning it's a state of mind. The media will never talk about, you know, the peaceful protests, the pain, what it takes, the killings. The TV is not talking about this, and the revolution happens in people's minds, and it's live. But what we're seeing with this movement is everything is being televised, and that's a promise to these people, being like, we are filming everything, and there's an evolution happening with young people that is for everyone to see, you know. So I want to capture that. It's not necessarily me as an artist. It's more like showing what is going on in our times, showing what this country is like, because what I realized through touring is we're really all the same. We all want the same shit. whether I'm in Montana or I'm in Miami or LA, like, you get people come to shows who just want to have a good time, who work hard, you know, who live through art, you know, who have families that don't believe what they believe, and they have that conflict. And so I want us to show people that America is one of the most diverse places in the world, and there's a lot of power here and a lot of compassion here. So I want to have some more nuanced conversations. You know, I want to do an interview with a sheriff in Texas that's a family friend, and also invite the dialogue. I'm not trying to say like fuck the cops and all this. I'm trying to like show that there's a philosophy of compromise in all this. You know, we all want peace in this country. So these conversations sometimes become so, you know, so aggressive, and people live in their emotions, and that's justified, but a lot of times you create more divide, you know, even if you don't want to. That's just how it happens. So that's my journey, you know, just starting here, going to North Carolina, potentially to Florida, taking our video people and just having conversations, doing this essentially, you know. I'm super excited about that. Yeah. Oh man, I don't have a lot. I got like 5. I got a Native American headdress, which I got in Pittsburgh actually. My first band we're gonna call it Blackfoot Nation, because I'm a part Blackfoot Native, and we thought it was cool. Ended up never recording a single note of music. The band broke up several days after me getting this tattoo. But it's all good. Then I got a little hand of Fatima. I got it at a festival a few years back, and then I got a German proverb saying that der Weg ist das Ziel, which means the journey is your destination. It's like something my grandfather said before he passed, and that's my favorite actually, because it's the most meaningful to me. I got a quarter note rest, which reminds me to take a beat and kind of slow down. What else I got? Oh, I got my brother's name actually. Yeah, Amadeo. So that's my baby brother. That was my first tattoo actually. I designed it myself. That's it. I want to get more, but I'm stingy. I'm like, every time I got money, I buy like a guitar or something. I need to get tatted up. What a fool believes to be, the wise man has the power to reason away. That's my favorite song, man. Fucking Doobie Brothers, Michael McDonald. It's crazy because I used to sing that song. My dad used to play that song in the car all the time. I never paid much attention to it. And I was having one of those deep conversations with my mom. And somehow I was saying something foolish, and she just whipped it out. She's like, you know what a fool believes to be, the wise man has the power to reason away. And I think to me it's a statement on choices, and you know that knowledge has a lot of power, and you're not a slave if you have knowledge. You're not forced into believing something because you have the full scope of it. I'm surprised I was able to come up with that. I was about to say, I don't know, Frank Ocean or some shit. Oh, my creative process is complete madness. A lot of it is voice notes. I always have like melodies in my head, and I want to say I start with melodies first. Like, my process is very musical. Like, if I don't have chords I love, I can't really write. It's rare I write lyrics first. So I usually start with chords, try to find something catchy, figure out, is this like guitar, piano? A lot of times I'm just practicing, I'm just like fumbling around, like trying out stuff, and then I stop. You know, I find something, I'm like, whoa, what was that? And then I like figure it out, you know, maybe scat like a phrase or so, and then pretty early on I start producing. Like, I come from producing, so that's my favorite part of the process. So once I get the chords down, I produce around it, you know, put some scratch lyrics down, and slowly like this thing starts to form out of it. I also pull a lot of references. Like if I know something that's gonna be like kind of dancey, like I'll pull up like Nile Rodgers and Daft Punk and you know, like 70s like funk and disco shit. And I do a lot of referencing to make sure I'm not overlooking certain things that could make the song better. But there's no rules. There's no rules. Sometimes like I'll record my buddy playing drums, make a beat out of that, or turn a poem into something. I try to have fun. I try not to have like a rigid way of doing things. It was probably my tattoo, like what my grandfather said. You know, he had a stroke, and when he was on his deathbed, my dad and I were sitting next to him and listen to him talk, and he wasn't making a lot of sense at that point. And all of a sudden he said, "De Weg ist Ziel, de Weg ist das Ziel," which means the journey's your destination. And then he fell asleep, and later that night he passed. So it was the most profound thing anyone ever said to me at that point. And just thinking about that there is no end goal, you know, there's the purpose of existing, and why I think life is so valuable is that there is no payoff. I think, you know, not that I don't believe that there is something after death. I just think that it's all a giant cycle, and the purpose of it is existing, and the fact that it is, that's the thing. And so I try not to rush through things. Like a lot of times we rush through moments, you know, we don't take time to be with people we care about. We try to get people off the phone, you know, or try to, you know, plan a tour, do the tour, what's after that, what we're doing then, what's my plan the next 10 years, am I going to be this successful person when I'm 50, am I going to accomplish my dreams? It's like we leave so little time to like, what am I doing right now? I'm doing an interview right now, I'm hanging out with my friends, we're in a beautiful place, and that's all there is. That's all that exists as far as we're concerned. And so it gives me peace, you know, and that's why I got it tattooed, is because I forget. I always have to remind myself. Always. I mean, all the classics: homelessness, poverty, like just being, you know, running to catch a train and barely having $2 to like pay for a ticket, you know, like the whole thing. I came to America when I was 19 with a suitcase and a guitar. I had about $900 saved up, which went in the first week. I didn't pace myself at all. And I moved to Brooklyn, started, my first job was selling comedy tickets in Times Square, and like asking people, you want to see a comedy show? Want to see a comedy show? You know, working for Greenpeace, like signing people up to donate money and like all this stuff. Like I had all kinds of random jobs. Worked at Aeropostale, doing retail. Had a dozen barista jobs. Worked with kids as a counselor for a while, and it was the first 3 years were really rough financially, and then of course getting your foot in the door, meeting music people, and when you don't know anyone, like you try to reach for everything. Like anyone who makes music and does something on a level above you, you want to be there. So I was just like going to jazz clubs and asking people who were in the band, like, yo, can I sit here? Can I watch you do this? Can I come to the studio one time, watch you record? And also learning, you know, I was still learning my instrument, you know, watching YouTube videos, applying for schools, not getting into schools. And so I always just bounced around, you know, like at a point I was like, should I be a DJ? And I was hanging out with a lot of DJ kids when I went to college in Miami, and then I was like, well, I play the piano, maybe I should play piano in bars, maybe I'm destined to be a player guy. And for the longer half of my career, I didn't want to sing. I didn't want to be an artist. I wanted to produce or play. And my mom was like, you should sing, you know, like I hear you sing in your room. I feel like you have ideas, you have a voice, and you have things to say, so why don't you do that? And I was like, oh, fuck that. I'm not like, in my head it was like, I'm not like Jason Mraz or John Mayer. Like, I'm not that good on guitar. Like, I don't want to be that guy. But she was right, you know. As soon as I started recording guitar and making the songs I wanted to make, and produce them the way I wanted to produce them, for some reason people started finding more interest in it, as opposed to me making my abstract jazz beats or whatever. So it was a lot. It was a lot of ups and downs, open mics, thinking you meet a label person, thinking this is it, and then it's not, you know, getting your shit stolen, the whole nine, you know. But I think the most critical thing as an artist is doing the most with what you have, and always learn. Like don't be comfortable, or don't be uncomfortable not knowing something to the point where you don't go chase what you don't know. Because a lot of my friends are like, oh, I don't know how to produce. How do I find a producer? It's like, learn how to produce. It's all there for free. Like, oh, I don't have a mixer. Learn how to fucking mix. Pick up a guitar. They're like $20, you know? Like, you know, we tend to make excuses for ourselves why we can't get to the next step, and meanwhile we don't do anything. So I think even though I didn't know what I was doing, I always did something. I always at least hung out or allowed myself to be in a space that was art related. And then I always met a person I never intended to meet that was like, hey, you can stay at my place, or, you know, oh, my uncle does this, like he could get you a gig and pay you $100 or whatever. And I'm still like this today. Like, I don't fucking know what I'm doing. I just, you know what I mean? Like, Brendan Cohen was like, yo, come to the crib, we can maybe shoot something, and now we're here.
Fucking amazing.
No.
Bro, you really have been through all this shit. God damn.
I mean, bro, it's like, it's a journey, man, you know? Fucking, like, living in Miami, too, is so crazy, because Miami is so, like, what is, like, homogenous or whatever. Like, it's so much party and, like, that scene, like, models and bottle service. And I was just this naive German kid with a guitar, not really understanding where to go. So for a minute, I thought I should be, like, trying to model or some shit like that. And it felt, like, so weird, you know? Like, that was never my scene. So during that time is when I decided, yo, I gotta drop out. I gotta go to California. Like, and that's why I came here. And I initially came here because my buddy Dylan, who I got this tattoo with, he grew up with Matt Miller and was staying at his crib and was like, yo, like, you should come out, like, come on tour with us and it'll be fine. Like, don't worry about it. You don't have to pay rent. It'll be amazing. And I come out here and his ass was like, sorry, bro, it didn't work out. Like, I'm still in Pittsburgh. And like, and I was out here now, like, yo, I don't know where to go. I got no money, I got no nothing. So my first move to LA, actually 3 days later, I booked a flight to Pittsburgh. And then I lived in Pittsburgh for a while, you know? So everything was just like so chaotic until I finally got a call from a guy, a friend of my dad's, who was like, hey, like, I heard you're looking for a place to stay. You want to move to Cali? Come stay with me. I'll give you a job. I'll make sure that, you know, he showed me the ropes, you know? Like, he taught me all about LA bullshit, about what people mean when they say yes, which is half the time they mean no, you know? That's like the LA way. Man. It's like, yo, we should get together sometime. We should do this. Yeah, of course. Yeah, take my number. Of course, let's do it. Cool. I'll never see you again. Boom. And after a while, you don't even get offended. You're like, of course. And you start doing it to other people. You know, it's fucked up. Oh, man. seeing the people I love. I always look forward to like kicking it, whether we're making music or just having conversations. Like right now, I'm excited to see my mom. Excited for the doc we're making and this road trip. I'm always excited about new music. I'm always excited about starting shit. I'm the worst at finishing things. I'm excited for this whole thing to calm down a little bit. I'm excited for things to open up and us being able to dissect what happened the last couple months and focusing on moving forward. Not to like forget or to stop having conversations about injustice or anything like that, like, but to really be like proactive and be like how we're actually going to implement change, because right now we're hurting and we're just, you know, we're scrambling to the next thing, you know. And I think people take it to the streets first and it gets loud, but now it's like, how do we implement things into society and make it a practice? What are we going to do with police? Like, it's not working the way it's been going. We're not going to get rid of police, but how the next half a year plays out or the next year plays out with the election coming up, all this stuff, I'm kind of excited about, because I want to say it can't get much worse, you know. I think it's going to get better. Just the amount of content that's coming out preaching about this stuff is insane, you know. We have so much more music to look forward that talks about, you know, better living. You know, we have so many more platforms. Like people are using TikTok to do therapy sessions. You know what I mean? Like, you have therapists making TikTok videos about marriage advice. You have people giving, you know, advice on holistic living and meditation and all this stuff. So like, we're hopefully able to raise the frequency of modern society and just become better as a race. And I mean the human race, not black and white, you know. Hopefully. People are proactive in hurting other people, you know, like what Trump tried to pass on this week and on Friday, you know, like a law taking away rights from transgender people or non-binary people. When people actually put effort in oppressing other people, you know, that really makes me sad, because it takes time off everyone's plate, you know. Why wouldn't you use every hour of your day doing something positive? And so all this negativity, I mean, some may call it evil, you know, that makes me sad. But I don't really believe in evil and good and bad like that. I think people are selfish and they just do shit, you know. I think evil is very abstract. What's evil to one person might be justified to another person. But there's definitely some evil motherfuckers out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to get too deep into it, but like, there's the stuff that comes out, what some people do on this planet, what they do with their time they're given here, is mind-boggling. And it makes me sad. It makes me sad that people still have to worry about what color they are, you know. That my kids have to decide whether they wear a hoodie and drive a certain type of car, you know. I don't want my kids to have to think about that shit, you know. And we thought it would end with our generation, but clearly it hasn't. I would say neither. Whatever it is I make, I put all my blood, sweat, and tears into it. So like, if I make a sad song, best believe it's gonna be a really fucking sad song, and sad people will appreciate it. But if I make a happy song, I want it to be joyful. And I want to say I enjoy making upbeat music more now. Like, my music is kind of in between. I call it happy sad sometimes, you know. Like, I make music that's like nostalgic, and it's kind of like this idea of a joyful memory that is past, you know. that's kind of what I enjoy doing. Guitar, keys, and a laptop or computer. You know, I mean, technically, I would need an interface and like whatever, but you get the gist. Ooh, just one moment. It's probably a tie. It's a tie between playing Lightning in a Bottle a few years ago, which was an amazing show for myself too, and it was the first time I played a show where it was like 10,000 people or so, and I remember not thinking about it until I had to go on stage, and then I peeked out and I was like, holy shit. And that's one of the times where like I remembered years prior being like, it felt like those recitals I played as a kid where I was like, fuck, I kind of don't want to do this, but then you go, and we had an amazing time. And at that point I was like, I want to do this every time. I want all my shows to be like this. And I would say a moment I felt alive was honestly when my little brother was born. You know, I always wanted to have a little brother for some reason, and we have a big age gap, so I took care of him a lot of times. He almost felt like my son, and just kicking it with him, you know, like showing him music, having him in the studio, like being in Costa Rica with him and watch him chase animals, and you know, him as a baby just like going swimming in the ocean, like that time spent, I was very at peace and very alive, you know. I love him a lot. Can't think of anything else that doesn't involve a naked woman. I hate to repeat myself, but do the most with what you got. And not just for emerging artists, like if you're Travis Scott, like use what you got to do the most. You know, if you got $10, like do something with it. If you got millions of dollars, do something with it. Don't wait for shit to come to you, or waste your talent on opportunities that may or may not come. Like go. Like every successful artist that I respect or I look up to, they came from nothing. You know, so there's no excuses. Like you can't be like, oh, Bowie didn't pop off till he had the perfect studio and like state of the art, everything paid for, and you know what I'm saying? Like Bowie was Bowie when he was 17 years old, you know? And it's the same with Prince. Like none of these people come from wealthy family backgrounds or having all the connections. Like we just tell ourselves that, so no excuses. What's coming soon for me? We're doing a lot of conversation pieces, a lot of think pieces. I'm trying to activate people. I'm trying to get people to find their own voice and have a movement that they can wholeheartedly be a part of. Because a lot of people want to help and they may not know how, so it'll be a lot more things like that. We're starting a nonprofit and a neighborhood trust to help with legal fees for people that can't afford it, and there's always going to be music, you know, that's a given. You know, we're doing the Evolution will be televised, so that will be a doc series probably, and the brand moving forward. And I think that's it. I mean, you know, if the world's still here in 2021, we'll be never know. More music, more art, more love. You know, more everything. I want to do stand-up comedy too. That's actually my dream. I want to do stand-up comedy, and that's it. That's all I have on the horizon for myself right now. Oh, and hold up. I'm doing a fact book. I'm making like a little random fact book called NoMBe's Little Book of Random Facts, and it's gonna have facts about parrots and how German chocolate cake is made. It's gonna be like random shit, and I'm very excited about that. So stay tuned. And that's my helicopter. All right.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, of
Straight
course.
killed that shit.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
it's great.
I'm glad.
Hey guys, if you like this video, you should like and subscribe so you can see more every week. New interviews every Wednesday from your favorite artists that you haven't even heard of yet. Discover your new favorite artist. Subscribe to the Cocoon YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram so you don't miss a beat. And stay tuned for all the best music that your ears can listen to. That's right. Until next time.